But like right here, he might say, hey, can you fill in this section, the project scope? Or, hey, what do you think about the timeline? Is this timeline sound reasonable to you? Right? So I might ask for their input on things like that. But I don't think you would typically let them start from a blank page. And like I said, I was like 4 or 5 years into my consulting career before I was trusted to do them on my own. And I think that's appropriate, right? Because you won't know, like, for example, like what client responsibilities you should put in there, right? Or what your responsibilities are. So it's helpful for somebody else to kind of like guide you and write that for you. And then you fill in the other parts. So that's more common. Okay? Anybody else have other questions before we get into the actual writing of this? All right, if you have questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat. But we have a general framework to work from, right? This makes for a pretty good outline, right? So let's go ahead. How much, Rex asks, how much of this process is general, meaning that it's not just for data science projects? Yeah, great question, Rex. What I have here can absolutely be applied to a lot of projects. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, the text will obviously define it as a data science project. But yeah, I mean, you could be using this for like a software development project, a database install, other things like that, right? But yeah, you can absolutely use it for something else, Rex. And people thinking coding was the hardest part of the process. Yeah, Leo. Yeah, Leo, thanks for making that observation, because that's really kind of like my underlying message in this entire series, really, right? Like when we get to the data collection side, like data collection is not easy, right? So yeah, I mean, it's a very small part of it, right? But again, this is what happens in professional environments. I'm trying to help you guys prepare and be able to say, you know, when you walk in your first day, your first month, and you hear about somebody talking about a statement of work, you can say, yeah, okay, I can contribute. I can review it. You need another reviewer on, then I can look at it. I can contribute to the project scope, right? Or the project scope section, I mean, right? Because this is what happens. This is what happens in the real world. You know, and I've been a consultant for IBM. I've done engagements with Hitachi, PwC, Deloitte, a couple others, you know, like this is how it's done in the real world. But yeah, Leo, thanks for the observation. I mean, it's accurate. So I mean, so I hope you guys understand, you know, why I get so I'm so disappointed when I see this stuff about, hey, you want to know data science projects? Learn Python. It's like, no, there's like a million things that go into a data science project, and they have nothing to do with Python, right? Okay, so Sam says, in oil and gas industry, SOW is essential in every project, be it small or big scale. The outline here exactly matches what I usually do for any SOW. Well, yeah, thank you, Sam. Thank you for that confirmation. Yeah, you know, really across any industry, most industries, an SOW is a contract. It's a serious document, right? And again, like I said, it's how you get paid, right? We're in business to keep the lights on. So very important to have a well-written SOW. So Sam, yeah, thank you so much for your message. I know you have a little bit more, maybe a little bit more experience than some other people in the chat, so I appreciate your insight. And yeah, I think that this is a fair outline. And to Rex's point, it's a fair outline. And to your point too, Sam, it's a fair outline for any number of industries and engagements. But yeah, I mean, it's a very common thing. Academia is not going to teach you this, right? Coursera is not going to teach you this, but I 100% guarantee you will need this in the real world. All right, so let's get started. Thanks for all the feedback, guys. Great questions. Really appreciate Sam's input. Yeah, so let's get started. We don't necessarily need a title for the introduction. So we'll leave space there. And then we said that our next section was project description, right? Where is my presentation? We said project description. Oh man, come on, Dennis. And then we said client responsibilities, consultant responsibilities. Project scope, timeline. Payment schedule. And oh man, I keep on losing my signature. Signatures is not complex. All right, I think I saw some more feedback from Sam. So Sam says, except for the fact that technical person myself ended up fighting with contract counterparts. Yeah, that can get messy. That can definitely get messy. So as I mentioned before, typically speaking, you know, at least the way I've had it, you know, I, as the technical person, sign off on the SOW, but then it goes to bosses, you know, maybe it has to go through your legal department, and then your legal department sends it to them, or yeah, sends it to them, and then they say thank you, we'll have to talk with our legal department, and then you basically have like the legal departments and the, you know, the higher up people figure out the contract, right? But to Sam's point, yes, every once in a while you get stuck doing that. Usually not a good practice, right? Because, you know, in those conversations, in those changes to the SOW, you're making obligations, right? You have to live up to what's in the SOW, right? So, yeah, I mean, I hear you, Sam. That does happen, but it's risky, right? Not just for you, but for the company itself, right? Like, you want the legal people to fight it out, not the technical people.